Good morning and welcome to Free Advice Friday. My name is Carrie Barnum, and today I'm so excited to have with me as a special guest Walt Mussell. Walt is a award-winning author who writes Japanese fiction, mostly historical fiction, and Walt also is our superstar of the day because I met Walt back, goodness, was it 2019, I think? Back
No, it
at,
was no, it was later than that. It was
was
when
it?
were you at Matt? I don't remember when you were at M&M, but it
I
was
don't
like
know.
3 years ago. It was 3 years ago, I think.
Was
21.
it 21 then? And it was at Moonlight Magnolias. And at the
Yes.
time, Walt, he bid, I had put up a hour of consulting as one of a thing that people could bid on to raise money. And Walt was the winner. And so we ended up not only talking at the conference, but then we had a consulting hours after that. And at the time, you were struggling with marketing and platform. And I think that's for most authors, one of the things that they really struggle with is kind of, okay, I wrote this book and I like to write, but now how do people see it? And that was kind of where you were at. Um, and just more recently, you found kind of your niche, which is more in video and Instagram, right?
Yes. I was trying all social media and just trying to have a presence, and it basically was nothing or very little. So I finally gave up on a lot of things and focused on two areas. I focused on TikTok and YouTube. Why? Because I found TikTok's software the easiest for creating videos, and I was looking at doing Japanese history videos, and because that's on brand for me. And so since I could
Mhm.
do that, since it was like customer friendly, that's where I started. And then I would create YouTubes. I would basically download them, strip the logo, which you can find the software online. You can get strip the logo, and then repost them in YouTube. After a while, I was doing this. That happened about 18 months ago. We're just focusing on those two. And then last summer, I was ignoring Instagram. I had 250 followers. And I started taking my content. Instagram at the time had a 60-second time limit. So I've been posting a lot of shorts, the videos that are a minute less. I've been
Mhm.
designing them on TikTok and then posting them on YouTube. That was less than a minute, but they did much better than my longer than 1 minute videos that TikTok likes. And so I had this content. I thought, I got a minute. Why not just repost it on Instagram? And on Instagram, a steady diet, I had a haphazard strategy. The steady diet of just Japanese 1 minute videos took
Mhm.
off. Now, it didn't take off quickly. I never went viral.
That's,
Um,
I know you're saying that. So your most popular video,
mhm.
how many views does that have on Instagram?
My most popular video on Instagram has 227,000 views. But when you think of viral, you think of 200,000 in 3 days or 3 hours. That took
Sure.
over that took over 3 months.
Okay, so I mean that is a lot of views, but I get what you're saying. So did you get a lot at the front of it and it tapered off, or did you kind of post it and it wasn't popular until later?
It was posted. It was posted, and it was had a look. It had a bit of luck because I was explaining a Japanese word that in the 16th century, in my book's time period, is the appropriate word to use for the time when addressing a samurai. The word literally means esteemed aristocrat. However, in today's Japanese vernacular, it's very sarcastic and you don't say it to anybody. Now, there are worse words you can say than this. But when I lived in Japan in the 90s, this was the worst thing you could say. And I discovered that other languages also had a similar word, and particularly Arabic. It was, and so it kind of took on a life of its own, a slow life of its own. So people would find it and repost it, and it was like going country. It was like going country by country, and that was
Okay.
more than anything else. And so
So
that's kind of how it got to 200,000 over 3 months. But
yeah, And I think that that happens a lot where it kind of, yeah, Elaine's saying it's growing legs. And I think that's true. But I also want to know, so that was 3 months ago. How long had you been posting videos consistently before you got that one that got so much attention?
Um, I I started in June when the consistent posting of just Japanese history, when I only had 250 subscribers. And so I started it and got it, and I just kept going. I had a video. I was because I had so much content. I could do 4 videos in a week. I didn't want to do them every day, and I've since learned that basically, um, I've since learned that there are certain days I don't want to post. Like when I'm on Instagram, I don't want to do a Monday, I don't want to do a Friday, and I don't want to do a Sunday, unless
Because it doesn't get as much action.
it's Sunday afternoon around 5 o'clock. It just doesn't do well. So, but you'll see I've got a lot of videos, and they're in there, and there were other videos that what actually happened was that there were other videos around that video that also did well. And when I say did well, maybe got 10,000 views.
Okay.
I had a video about a Roman. I had a video about a Roman coin being found in Okinawa, about a millennia after being minted.
Mhm.
One about a Japanese sword from the 4th century. Archaeology tends to be, with the people who follow me on Instagram, archaeology or more ancient Japan tends to be very popular. So
Oh,
it was putting those together, and then a continual post of putting those together that allowed me to grow. At the same time, when you're also growing, you're picking up a lot of bots.
yeah.
And
And do you know their bots? Like, does Instagram take care of them? Is there anything you have to do, or how does that work with those bots?
Instagram will eventually take care of them, um,
Mhm.
but they don't worry about it until you start broaching their platforms. You've got certain levels, certain stratus, and so once you get there, like when I finally got to 10,000, it happened. I would lose 100 in a day.
And those are bots, you think?
Those were bots that Instagram was clearing out, and this went on. I say 100. I basically get it back in a week, and then they clear them out again. And so every time I got close to 10,000, I would get knocked down. I would get knocked down to like 9,500. So I have no idea how many bots were in that first group. But Instagram wasn't letting anyone over 10,000 unless I could prove they were all real, and that's what it felt
Right. Well, because once you approach where, you hit monetization and different things,
like.
they want to
Yes,
make sure
and it's real.
that you're legitimate. So with this though, so you reached 10,000, but how was that growth? Did that video get popular and then you started getting a lot of followers, or did you slowly get followers along the way?
That video got popular and added followers, but I also added followers with other videos. So that video gave me the most followers. But
Mhm.
every video, and the difference being was this: before I could drop ads on my books, say I'm
Mhm.
having a sale, something like this, and I might get 50 to 100 views. Ads, books, book discussions. I guess ad for book decides as a book discussion doesn't always work, and
Mhm.
that I get maybe 150 to 100 views. And now with this, because the algorithm trusts me for my content, I will drop an ad, and it won't do as well as my other videos, but it's still getting over 1,000 eyes.
Which is, I mean, that's marketing, you're not paying for it. So
Correct.
what I do think is very interesting, and I've talked about this a little bit, is kind of the idea that you're building this platform as an author, but you're not talking about your book all the time. You found content that relates to your book, and that's what you focus on.
Partly. Um, if I were just focused on what my book is, we'd be looking at Shogun
Okay.
or area time period around Shogun, which is 1600. And I do a lot of stuff that's I do I do a presentation for churches and civic groups on Japan's Christian century, where Japan basically ministry starting coming in mid 16th century, the missionaries arrive. Japan goes to 300,000 converts, jewel of efforts in the Far East, and then it's driven underground under penalty of death, all within a single century. And so basically, basically Japan becomes as forbidden as the Garden of Eden. And that's maybe 1/7 of my videos, 1/6 to 1/7. Every 6 videos is going to be something on that topic. And then I'm going to go outside of that because I know that the people who watch my videos really love ancient Japan. And my ancient Japan videos draw a lot of eyes. They also draw a lot of followers. And that's where I'm picking up things.
So you're kind of creating videos that would appeal to maybe your reader avatar or the person who might generally be interested in your book topics, but
Yes.
not necessarily talking about your book, which is probably why people follow you more, because people don't like being advertised to nonstop. They're on social media for entertainment or to learn something or that kind of thing. So have you found that to be true, that when you focus on content that encapsulates your book and your topics but isn't specific to it, that's when you get the most audience reaction?
I get the audience reaction purely on the topic itself, and it isn't so much there. Like one of my books deals with there's a cross roof tile on Himeji Castle in Himeji, Japan. And that's Japan's most famous castle. It's the castle that was used in Shogun. It's the castle that was used in You Only Live Twice. And the grounds used in The Last Samurai. But that cross tile survived the persecution. And so it appears in my book. And so I'll talk about the cross tile. I said, I'll say, like, I'll tell the history of the cross tile, but then I'll say, and it's in my book. And so it's been discussed. They said, nobody knows where the tile came from. I come up with a possible scenario. And that's part of how the story is based.
So you kind of bring it in, but naturally, because
and my last M&M, I talked with there's somebody who's like had sold 30 books, does a lot of indie books, a lot of marketing. So I discussed with her, and she said, you need to bring this in more in what you do. And part of the thing is, I do have my day job. It's very important for me to keep it. And so it's a time constraint. I'm not a full-time indie author. So this is what I have. This is basically, everything is focused on what can I do in the least amount of time. So that's why I now focus on Instagram, because that's where the followers are. And I'm trying to get to the next plateau, because after I hit 10,000, they still clean out the bots, but then my growth went to about 200. My growth went to about 150 a month to 200 a month, which isn't a bad thing.
No, I mean, but you've never paid for ads. You've consistently posted, but you've never paid for ads.
Correct. And what's also been good is I now leverage those videos into YouTube. And so the YouTube has grown to, I was 250 last January. Over 950 now. And I'm picking up maybe 13 new followers a week. That's not viral growth. That's not fast. That's not viral. That's not fast. It's just a steady growth in what's going on. And so I'm looking at, so the next thing I have to do is figure out a way to go from the slow, steady growth to maybe reaching a larger audience. And so I'm studying SEO to see what I do there. And right now it's a lot of trial and error. I don't know what's working.
As it usually does. Well, and the question everyone wants to know, obviously, because we're with a bunch of authors, is Did you see an increase in book sales as your videos started to get views, as you got more followers? Did you see more book sales?
Yes, it's not a great one because you're still. I think you said in your lecture. I think you said in a lecture before. You're gonna have to hit somebody 7 times um, before they pick up your book. And so
13 now.
with 15,
Uh, yeah, 13 to 15 is the new statistics. That someone has to see and hear about your book 13 to 15 times before they're interested enough to say, oh, let me go check it out.
and so that's what. And so I don't want to hit people over the head with it every time. So a lot of my videos might have pictures of my book at the end, but I'm not always putting an advertisement at the end anymore.
Right. Which makes sense because
So,
that's how you retain your followers. Now, on your website, well, I know your website is about you as an author, but your Instagram, your YouTube, do
yes,
you have links to your books and to your author self on those platforms?
yes. Um, if you go to basically how to contact me newsletter, all the links are there, and I also have a newsletter on Substack that I do, where you can get the links there, and then you have all the links for the books on the front page of the on the main page of the website, waltmussell.com.
So you do kind of pepper them in, and it has helped book sales without paying anything, but it's not like, you hear about sometimes people are like, I went TikTok viral and now I've sold 1 million copies. You haven't experienced that, but you have experienced an increase in platform, which you can monetize at some point, and an increase of sales without paying anything.
I wish I had the viral. I haven't had it yet.
Not yet.
Yes. Um, I have seen an increase, a small increase in sales to go along with that. And it's a lot. It's basically the focus here is I'm trying to finish the book I'm working on now. And I think I told you before we started, uh, I see 350 pages at the bottom. My edits are on page 270. Once I get that finished, I've got to get that out. And this is me basically building the platform for the next book that comes out. And
Yeah.
hold on, my earbud fell out. This is me building the platform for the next book that comes out. So there's a lot of, because if I'd like to go with a publisher, but if I go indie, this is my primary source.
Right. Well, and even if you go with a publisher,
It's still my primary source.
it's still a primary source, and also platform. As much as there have been articles out recently from people talking about how you have to have a platform, and then someone saying, no, you don't really, but platform does matter. It can help, be the deciding factor of you getting a deal. It can help you get a better deal because people see that as a potential readership or audience. So platform does matter, especially if
Yes.
you're hoping to pitch to a publisher. Um, so, and I love that you kind of have seen the long game. And I know you haven't spent any money. It's been slow, but slow and steady.
Yes.
So, have you noticed that if you're not consistent, that you kind of plateau or it just doesn't work?
Um, I notice I've got videos. I've got videos. Basically, I try to make it 3 a week. That's sort of the goal.
Mhm.
And I can't do 7. I can't do video posting every day. I don't have time.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that would, if I did that, I'd take time away from writing my books.
So you're consistent, but that doesn't mean that you're stealing time.
Right.
So, so with,
Instagram was at the point where I'm thinking I might be able to monetize it.
mhm,
I don't know yet. I need to study how that's done. But that's also looking at people who do monetize it in the historical space
mhm.
and ask myself, do I have the time to commit to make that worthwhile for someone who watches?
Right. Which often, yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to is that monetization often requires more of a commitment from the creator.
Yes.
As far as time is involved, because I know this is what everyone's like going, this sounds great. Videos sound like a lot of work. So I want to know your first video, your very first one that you remember making. How long do you think it took you to make it?
Oh God. The thing about my videos, and I'm sorry, just switching knees here. Um, the thing the thing about my videos, my first videos, is it was just me talking, and I could do Japanese history. I posted dog videos at first, just because it's personality wise and it was easy to make. I do it in the backyard, um, and but they still didn't have views. What I would do on the videos is I would start talking slowly because I knew the facts in my head and would just tell the story. No green screens, no nothing. And you've got a lot of ums. I didn't know how to cut. I didn't know how to cut out the dead space. I didn't know how to do anything, and I would repeat everything over and over. The thing about videos, and there's a line from MASH. If you've ever seen the MASH episode where Charles Emerson Winchester has his first taste of what was called meatball surgery in the show, and he goes after it's all over, he goes, "I felt like an intern in there." And Hawkeye looks at him and says, "Don't worry, we're not any better than you are. Just by sheer repetition, we've gotten fast because they're doing what to him was a 3-hour surgery in 15 minutes. They've gotten that quickly. And that's what's going to happen when you do videos. You're going to have a ramp up period where you can do the video, but you're going to do it much quicker. The first thing I do is I write a script.
So you're a plotter. Oh, I have to ask a question. So you plot your script. Do you also plot your novels or are you a pantser?
I'm a plotter.
Okay. Because I completely pants my videos. I just kind of go on there and talk. I mean, it's kind of what Free Advice Friday is too, but you find that having an actual outline or a script is what helps you get those videos done efficiently.
Yes, I'll do the script first, and I'll sit on it maybe a day, and then I'll maybe a day, or maybe I do it later. I'll edit it. I film these during lunch because the filming takes 10 minutes tops.
Okay.
And because I look at the video, I've got a lot of pictures on my phone that I can already pre-use. But I'm saying, okay, what are the I say, okay, what else? What I need a picture of, and then I'll divide it by one sentence with the script by one sentence at a time, and then I'll say that sentence 3-4 times when I'm filming. And like the way Hollywood just keeps filming something over and over and over again, and they look at 15, 20, 30 of clips of the same scene, and then they'll pick the one that works, or they'll pick two and they'll sort of merge them together, and something like that. And so that's what I'm doing, in that I'm basically, that is the quickest way to do this. But the one I just finished, just filming the first draft, I've got 4 minutes of I've got 4 minutes of vocals, or 4 minutes of recording for what's going to be a 1 minute video, because I kept.
So you just cut down. So rather than taking a video, oh, I didn't like that, taking another video, you take a longer video, but if you mess up, you just pause, say it again. So you have multiple takes, but all in one single video to
Correct.
edit down.
And that will take, and I can do that. I can do that in less than 10 minutes because I've got my script written. And then I can edit it while I'm eating lunch.
Which is nice.
So,
How long does your script take to write?
It depends on the subject matter, but we're talking, for a minute video, we're talking no more than 4 paragraphs. What I would consider 4 paragraphs. And there are pieces in there. I'll write it, then I'll read through it again. I'll say it out loud and go, okay. And there will be pieces in there that I know I can drop if I have to. And I might do 2 videos, because Instagram now has 90 seconds, but I want the shorts for YouTube 60. So when I write this, I'm writing it with a slightly longer video for 90 seconds, and then knowing that there are going to be sentences I cut out so I can get into the shorts requirement. But the difference between shorts, I did a video, I think I told you before we started, I did a video on the historical accuracy of the book Shogun. And it's historical fiction. Nearly all the main characters are based on somebody from history, from that time period. And then he just sort of uses some events that are actually in process, but takes a lot of it. And so when I did the video, I did two. I did a video that was 1 minute, 20 seconds long, and then one that was just under a minute, where I'd cut things out. The short version has over 2,500 views, has picked up over 10 subscribers, and is probably my most popular video in the last 2 months. The longer version, 1 minute and 20, has less than 20 views.
Because it feeds differently in the algorithm to different users and all of that.
Yes.
I think that's so interesting. So when you're doing these videos, you're just talking. Do you do fancy backgrounds? Do you do sound bites? Like, because I know for TikTok especially, that can be very popular, like trending sounds or music. What is your videos, just you talking? Do you do a green screen? What kind of videos do you do?
My videos are all green screen. The only change I make is I might have some videos where I want to compare two characters. So like there's a new Shogun series coming at the end of this month. And so when I was talking about the historical accuracy of Shogun, what took me the most time was finding a picture of the character in the new series, matching it to a picture of the character in the old series, and then the character of such and such represents this figure from history. So it's 2-1, 2-1, and that took me some time to get that to where I wanted it. The script though was very quick, and so it's only if I have to do a lot of work with the pictures, and then I do those picture work in PowerPoint, where I'm just basically doing a snip on my computer, pasting it on a PowerPoint slide, arranging it how I want it, doing whatever I want to it, and then I will take another snip of the finished product and send it to my phone.
And then you just put that behind yourself on the green screen.
You got it.
Okay, so speaking of the green screen,
Yes.
like I understand if you have multiple things like that, but if you're just using images, what do you use and where do you find them?
It's all online. I look at anything public information.
Public information, you just grab it.
I mean, if I'm right on the topic, there are several pictures, and I noticed this recently. There's a historian. She has a PhD, very good. A woman from the UK. She has over 1 million followers. And she was doing a video on the first recorded empress in Japan.
Okay.
Her PhD is in women in 19th century history, I think. But she goes women through all out history. And so fascinating, well researched. She's using the same pictures I am. And that's what
so you're again just using public domain. How many pictures do you use in your average video?
I use as many as I can, but in some cases, if I use too many, I don't want to use. If I just got 3 words and I attach a video to it and it's slipping, it makes the video sound very choppy.
Okay. So you kind of change it with each kind of sentence or piece that you take.
Each sentence, I will cut a sentence in the middle and change the picture. And this also allows me to cut things, because if you have just the film, each clip is segmented, so each clip is cut. If you're trying to have one full clip and then cut in the middle, you have a chance of bleeding, of word, sound bleeding into the next picture, and you don't want that. So you want the segments that make it easier to cut it out.
Okay. And so this kind of sounds a little technical for some of us.
Okay.
Obviously not me, but everyone else. But so how do you do this? Are you using it in an app? Are you
I
like on your computer with software? What do you use?
I'm going straight out of TikTok.
So
Basically,
TikTok, just the app?
the app itself is how I'm doing all of it. It's how I'm doing most of all this. I use CapCut some, and I use CapCut some, and I will string videos together. Sometimes I'll do a series, and then I'll film a segment where I can where I can basically lock them, overlay them, so that I can make it look like one video overall.
Okay.
My top video, on TikTok has 50,000 views. It took over a year to get there.
But it got there.
It
Okay.
got it got there, but it's about 5-6 minutes long. What I did was 3 2.5 minute videos, and then basically, but I wrote them such that they could be basically the end of one could be locked over. If you think of like one of those locks where you just put it like a seatbelt. You got one
Yeah.
lock, seatbelt, that type of lock. And so basically you can have one piece lay over the other and you continue, or you can cut them both off.
Okay.
But I'm not using anything else. And the reason I don't like to is because a lot of times the TikTok app will glitch. And so if I try to put in stickers and or something else on there, I might do it occasionally. But if I do that, I'm going to save a copy. And the one thing TikTok does do well is you can now download the video before you post it. Used to be you'd have to post it, then download it, scrub the logo off. So this is different. But what's happening is a lot of times the TikTok app will glitch, and I'll get a sticker stuck somewhere that I don't want it. And if I don't have a copy of it when I'm applying the stickers, that means I have to start over because the video's ruined.
So you don't want to start over. But so this is all, if we're talking about your filming tools, you're using your phone and the TikTok app. Do you have a microphone, a ring light? Like
I have a ring light. I have a ring light, and I have my earbuds. That's it. And my earbuds were a present for my wife at Christmas a couple of years ago. Nothing I spent any money on. Or we spent money on because it was a present.
Right. But that's, I mean, most people have some type of earbud. So you're not using like some paid for app or anything like that. Like it's literally just the tools within TikTok that allow you to do all of this.
Yes.
Mostly.
I have tried using the green screen on Instagram. I find it's clunky. So I need to probably start using CapCut because I just haven't taken the time to learn it. I have an acquaintance on Instagram who does Scottish history and who recommends that I should be using CapCut to do my videos. But I haven't made that transition. And I've heard it's good, I just haven't done it. And then I've got an acquaintance, a friend of mine in Australia who is exclusively Canva for everything. And then uploads it.
But these are all pretty, accessible tools.
They are. They're free online.
So that's nice.
My friend in Australia is actually, I think, actually pays for it because it works. Uses it for her work.
Okay. So green screen, we have some questions about that. So a green screen, for anyone who doesn't know, if you've ever seen the weatherman and they're going like this for whatever's there, that's on a green screen. A green screen is just a plain green screen that pictures and things can overlay, and it takes out your background. So rather than seeing my wall back here, it would be a green screen when I film, and I can overlay anything on it. So if you've ever used like Zoom where you can change your background, essentially that's an image on a green screen. So when you record, you're recording on, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're, at a specific wall or anything, you're just filming on this green screen so you can drop in pictures behind yourself, correct?
Yes, and you can flip flip the picture to show whether you're in it or not. And I sometimes will do that. There are a lot of green screen templates or green screen possibilities with videos and things. I've never gone past just taking the green screen and popping a picture back. And it's always been a little fear of the time it would take me to master that. Now I realize going to the next level in getting followers and growing the brand, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to learn more about what's available, and that's why we'll probably start learning CapCut. But
But you didn't have to start that way. You could start pretty simple.
It's all simple, and I don't do anything. I can't recall where I've done anything other than use a green screen behind me. A single green screen picture, and I just change the picture, and that's it. This is the person I'm talking about. This is the battle I'm talking about. This is whatever I'm talking about. It just gives people the image when they're hearing me talk.
Right. And it also changes visual interest. So it's not just a talking head. It's got things that, you know, our minds are constantly flipping. So it gives you things to look at. So once you create these videos, which now, what do you say? They probably take you like 20, 30 minutes now to create each video?
I wouldn't say it takes any longer than that. Well, the script, I'll do it. The script I'll do in the evening. And that's probably the most important thing I do. So I do spend a lot of time making sure it's right, because I've got to be fast. Yes. My old videos are extremely slow, meandering, because I just don't do that well. A lot of ums and whatchamacallits. And so I've got the script to keep me on task. And then so I can get to, because I talk slow normally. And well, I've been told I talk fast for a Southerner, but that talk slow normally.
I talk real fast for a Southerner.
But that's what keeps me on task. And from there, once I do the actual filming, the filming takes less than 10 minutes. And then the editing, like I said, I can do that over lunch.
So it's not that long. And then when you post it, let's talk about the actual posting.
Okay.
Posting on Instagram. Do you use hashtags? And if so, how'd you find them? How many do you use? Give us the skinny on all that.
On Instagram, I just use as many hashtags as I can think of. I've started using SEO. I'm trying SEO, see if that works any, but I'm not yet understanding how the best way to do research on SEO on words. And when I say SEO, what I'm doing in TikTok makes it easy for you to find the words that are trending, what people are looking for in the last week. And then you basically paste them on your screen in a video, shrink them to minute size, stick them in the bottom under your captions, and then you wait 5 seconds and basically have them disappear after 5 seconds. The algorithm picks up on the words that are on your screen, and it starts looking for those, trying to match you to other people. I'll use those same search terms when I do Instagram. Same thing. Put them on the screen, turn them to the color that matches my background so they disappear, and then put them down the left-hand corner. And that's what I'm trying to do next to get the SEO, the search engine optimization, and seeing if that works. But the hashtags themselves, I will do as many hashtags as I come up with for both Instagram and for YouTube. For TikTok, TikTok supposedly doesn't like hashtags getting over 10. So I keep it down.
So no more than 10 on TikTok, but as many as you can think and fit on Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you always use this?
I've heard 7 to 9 is the maximum you want to do on TikTok. And the same thing, I've seen people who have huge success and they're using 20, 30.
There are rules, and rules are meant to be broken sometimes. But with your hashtags, do you just come up with them for each video? Do you have a set of hashtags that you tend to use regularly?
I have a set in my head based on what it is. And there are some that are more popular than others. If I'm doing a video that's on Japan's Christian century, I'm going to be talking about Christianity and Catholicism. That's going to be in my hashtags, because it's basically the Catholics were the Jesuits for almost the first half of it, were the ones who were doing the missionary work in Japan in the 16th century. So I'll even have words pertaining to just the Jesuits because people search for those.
Okay, so you're kind of doing broad, kind of basic keywords,
Yes,
but
they're all
also
broad.
doing keywords specific more to the topic you covered in that individual video.
Yes. For ancient, like I did for ancient Japan, I'm not going to use the words ancient Japan on something that's in the 16th century.
Mhm.
I'm reserving ancient Japan for something that's
Other
in the, yeah,
Okay.
after the 3rd or 4th century.
Okay. And how important would you say that captions are to videos?
It depends. One of the things I've noticed, and I need to do a better job of, is some of the really good videos on Instagram
Mhm.
have almost dissertations written in the captions, and I'm thinking I'm typing with 2 thumbs on my
Yeah.
phone, and I'm just trying to get something out, and so that point might be where I just type something up in advance for the caption, send it to my email, copy it from my email, paste it in the Instagram. That might be some paste it in the caption on
Right.
Instagram, and then go from there. So it might be where I need to basically prep my
Trying to get more keywords when you're posting that caption. So
yeah,
there's 2 captions on videos. I just held up 4 fingers. 2, just 2. There's the caption of where you're posting, and then there's captions like running captions for text on the video.
yes,
So can you talk about the text on the video a little bit?
the text on the video. In this case, I've been doing all those, and I do all those in TikTok. Um,
So it's automatic.
I let it auto generate on the captions, and then I edit because my pronunciation of Japanese doesn't really fit well sometimes with the. Uh, it comes up with interesting words for how I pronounce Japanese pronunciations because it's expecting the words. It knows I'm an English speaker, so it doesn't know what to do when I say a Japanese name. Uh,
Okay, so it automatically does it, but you have to kind of double check them.
I have to edit a lot, and so you've got that. That's the auto captions. Then I download it. And then I'll upload it to YouTube and to Instagram. I mean, the video is being designed for Instagram for the most part because that's where I get the most. Like I said, it's where I get the most following.
Mhm.
Um, and then the captions that go in the description, that's where I'm seeing the dissertation.
Where it's really
Like
long. And is
something
there a
really long.
reason Scott's kind of saying, is there a reason why you don't put your script as the caption when you're actually posting the video?
Uh, I could. I've just never tried it. It's not a bad idea.
Scott, meet Walt. Walt, Scott, you both are brilliant. So I do think that's interesting that there might be some SEO in the caption, but also sometimes people won't turn on the sound for a video
Mhm.
until they've read what everything's about. Or I am the worst about, again, I don't have volume on my phone very often. So I will only watch videos that have those text running captions on it because I can do it when, I'm watching a movie with my kids for the 100th time or something like that. So those captions really are important, I think, to the retention of people watching a video.
I know there's a lot of, when I get into a video on Instagram, there's a lot of things. Sometimes there's a lot of things where I leave out. One of the things I've been able to do is because I segment so much in my old videos
Yeah.
that I'm able to look at an old video that I did that was 2.5, 3 minutes long, and I'm able to cut it in half and then put it on Instagram. So I've got.
Sure. So repurposing that content.
I was basically putting content on, and I was putting content on TikTok and YouTube for a year before I tried it on it. I mean, like detailed content before I started trying to do it on Instagram again. And because, like I said, Instagram was an afterthought to me, and I was ignoring it. I would just post something there. It's basically, like I said, 250. It was 250 followers, and just yeah, my immediate circle of friends. So
It's the people that you beg to follow you. And I do think that's interesting. And this is one of the reasons why I always recommend if you're creating content, post it multiple places because you may not, where you think it will do well, it might not. But that same content that wasn't really much more work for you
Mhm.
could go viral or just grow legs and be popular in different places. So why not? You already have the content. Why not put it up in different places?
You have the content, and so I'll put it in 90 seconds. It'll go on Instagram. 60 seconds, and you can put it on Facebook, on the Facebook Reels. Facebook Reels algorithm annoys the daylights out of me, and to the point where I could have a video with 10,000 on Instagram, a 6-second video with 10,000 views on Instagram, and Facebook shadow bans it, and it's the same company, and I have
Yeah.
no idea what's the problem.
Well, and they may not either. Because so much is driven by AI and algorithms and bots. So I think that's really interesting. Um,
But yeah, I need to get back to posting because it doesn't take any time to just post a Facebook reel because
yeah.
I'm posting the exact same thing that I would post for a short or a 60-second Instagram video. It's the same video. All you do is copy, upload, paste. It takes no time at all, and you're
Mhm.
reaching out more. But just the Facebook algorithm so annoys me that I've gotten away from it.
Away
Um,
from it.
I used to be in Twitter, and I'm still in Twitter. I have about 1,600 followers there. But for me,
Mhm.
Twitter is talking sports. That's all.
It's a little bit different. Yeah,
It
it's a little
really is.
bit different.
I don't use it for.
Someone's
I will post.
asking,
Go ahead.
oh, someone's asking what shadow ban means. So whether it be Facebook or anywhere else, can you just give us a quick info dump on what shadow ban is?
Shadow ban is when you do something or say something that offends the AI, and so the AI will shut your video down. The biggest one, and you'll see this a lot, is you don't say dead. You don't say killed. Uh,
Murder.
you don't say any of those words in the video. You will get, and so you'll. That's why if you watch somebody's video and they use the word unalive,
That
they
is why.
unalive people. Um,
Yeah.
the video the video I taped most recently, which I need to add. I just taped it right now. Uh, I it talks about a samurai who had leprosy. He was a high-ranking samurai with leprosy, and
Mhm.
in his final battle, he forces were defeated, and so he did the samurai thing. And but I said
Unalive.
basically yes, but I didn't say unalive. I said, and one of his associates sent him to the afterlife.
There we go. So we get creative. So I do think that's interesting. And yes, it's anything. Your video is still up, but the algorithms and the AI don't show it to people. They bury it
Correct.
because they think you're talking about something you shouldn't, but they can't really pull it or different things like that. So that's what a shadow ban is.
And I
And
had this.
well, uh,
Go ahead, sir. No, I had the
well,
weirdest thing. I was talking about the capital of Japan used to be Osaka 1,500 years ago. It was like happened for 10 because the capital of the country would travel wherever wherever the emperor was living. And so for brief periods, I think in the 5th, 6th century, it was in Osaka. And I love Osaka. I used to live there. Or south of it in Sakai, sorry. And for some reason, TikTok didn't like the video. All I'm doing was in these decades, the capital of Japan was Osaka. And the TikTok just hated the video, kept shutting it down every time. I have no idea what's the problem with that.
no idea why. Well, and again, sometimes you don't know, or sometimes they heard your word wrong because how you pronounced it or whatever it
Yeah.
may be. Um, do you like making these videos? Like if someone were to come up to you and say, like, okay, you're using videos, do you like making them? Did you like it? Do you like being on camera when you first started, or is it something you grew to love, or you do just because you can as marketing?
It's a little intimidating. Uh, when you first do it, I've gotten better. I'm not natural. That I know. Uh, but there's a certain aspect with interacting with people
Mhm.
that I think one of the funniest, and this is like, it's who are you reaching? And one of the funniest things was on Instagram, and I got followed by somebody. I said, I know that name. I don't know from where. And so I looked up the name online, and my first reaction was, holy bleep, I'm being followed by Moriarty, the actor who plays Moriarty.
Wow, that's fun. So, I mean, you get
Well,
some.
the funny thing was, it wasn't him. It was somebody who had the exact same name but had an extra initial.
Okay, that's like a roller coaster
He,
of emotions.
yeah, he's still an actor, and I looked at what I looked up his stuff, and he's done a lot of interesting things. He's an up and coming actor, and he's done a lot of good things. But yeah, for like 30 seconds, I thought Moriarty from the Benedict Cumberbatch, Martin Freeman Sherlock series was following me.
Well, I mean, that would be exciting. But so you do get some enjoyment out of it, even if it wasn't natural. Like you're not like the person who just loves to public speak or to be on camera, but you started it to see if it could work, and then you've kind of come to enjoy it, it sounds like.
I do like speaking. It's more like I like teaching,
Mhm.
not speaking. My mother was a teacher, and so it's sort of a bit, maybe something I picked up.
Mhm.
Uh, but I like teaching. I do a bit of like talking. I like it. But sometimes there's a difference if you think of Sheldon Cooper on Big Bang Theory. He talks
Love
too
it.
much too. And yeah, sometimes it's more like that. And what do you do with it? Um, so it's fun. One thrill I did get was realizing that I'm being followed by faculty at Sophia University. And Sophia University is the Jesuit university in Tokyo.
That's very cool.
That was cool. I got an invite from somebody if I'm ever in Tokyo to come check out the Christian archives because they have them.
That's cool. So aside from book sales and marketing, you
Yeah.
have gotten kind of other invitations or opportunities as a result of the platform that you're building.
Yes, I get a lot of questions. People just other Japan creators. The thing that's a challenge when you look at the creators, I think of people and I look at what they do. I mentioned the person earlier who does Scottish history. She's actually in Scotland taking videos of the pictures, and then she's partnering with either the travel agency or the location is logged in. So you ask a question about the site, and then the location, their customer service people will answer your question. And it's like, great, because you get a
Mhm.
lot of stuff done that way. I'm not on location in Japan. I can't do that. I've got a friend on TikTok who is he's from Wales, and he is a professor of archaeology. He has his PhD. He's been doing this longer than he's been doing it longer than I. He's really good. He's
Mhm.
understanding. He's got a huge following. He has his cred, and I don't have cred. My last history course was freshman year of college. I'm self-taught everything. So I don't have, I'm not on location. I don't have the cred background. I've got to focus on what can I do.
Sure.
And
What's
so
in your wheelhouse?
what's in my wheels? What can I do? And
Mhm.
another thing I would mention that some people who don't have the first two have a really good gimmick. I I don't have a gimmick. I'm just talking. So you've got to. That's what I see a lot of. I see a lot of doctoral students doing history research, and they get great reviews because they've got the credibility that goes with it.
Yeah. So,
And
and I do agree, like having credibility, having a gimmick, you have to have something that people either want to watch or respect.
yes,
And so I know we're kind of at the end of the hour, but what I've gotten out of this is that it takes consistency and really consistency, and you may not see that growth pay off for months until, you never know what's going to hit. But once something does get popular, learn from that and replicate that And also, it sounds like just don't be afraid to try out some of these tools. You may love it. You may do one video and say, that was wonderful. I'm never going to touch it again. But you may actually enjoy it. But if you really want to try out any of these video platforms, it sounds like you really have to commit not to a day, not even to a month, but you have to commit to a real period of time, like a 90-day period of time to see if you like it and if it's going to go anywhere.
I
Would
would say you
you?
have to commit to a specific platform where you're going to do them. I use
That's
TikTok. I need to switch to CapCut, probably. But you could do them in another medium. Do the medium that you're most comfortable, and then find a way to leverage it. That's the first thing I would do. Because I don't know. I know none of these templates. I don't study them. I don't have time to learn them. I just basically ignored them. And maybe they would help. Maybe they'd help me grow even more. When I finally finish the edits on my book, I may try to expand a little bit there. But that's what I'm doing. So you learn that template, and I do like a script a lot, because it works for me.
It works for you. So find what works for you and then duplicate it.
Yeah, find. I think the movie I would quote is Cars. Find your groove.
That's right. That's right. Well, Walt, thank you so much for being on here. For everyone who wants to go connect with Walt, go look, guys, you really close to 1,000 on YouTube. Go follow him, help him get there. And it's Walt Mussell, which is Walt, WALT, Mussell, MUSSELL.com. So you can find him there. And your books are, I know it's The Samurai's Honor, and what's the other one?
The Samurai's Honor, The Samurai's Heart, and then A Second Chance. Um, the Samurai's Honor is the prequel to The Samurai's Heart, and so it's a novella. And the odd thing is, a friend of mine in Japan said you've got one historical error in The Samurai's Heart, and so he told me what it was. And my friend went to Tokyo University, so I don't argue with him on these things. He's also Japanese, but so I wouldn't argue with Japanese history anyway. So, but he said you've got this error. Other than that, great. And so I wrote The Samurai's Honor to fix the error he told me about. And if you read the I can't remember the dedication or the notes in the back, I explained what the problem was. That my friend knows.
I love that. That's a good story behind a novel. Well, thanks for being here, Walt. Everyone, all of you authors out there, go give it a try. Let us know how it works. I mean, if you love it, if you find new tools or things, let us know. And thank you, Walt, for being here, for sharing your secrets or your information with us. We really appreciate it.
Can I say one thing?
Always, yes.
Okay. I do, and it's falling out again, sir. I do. I have two presentations. I do for writers groups. I have a presentation on how to do research. It's called Across Time and Time Zones: Researching History from Half a World Away. Basically explaining how I researched Japan, but I also talked with 10 best-selling authors and got their tips as well on how they do their research from their computer and what tips they use. And then I have a second presentation on Japan's Christian century. I do it for churches and civic groups. It's free. And I'm learning how to do it. I'm learning how to do it remote. My last one was remote. I did it for some people in Osaka. So
awesome. So anyone who needs a speaker, look Walt up, because I think that would be fun. I've seen him speak, and so it's very fun. Always well researched.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Walt. We'll see you again next week for our normal Free Advice Friday.